Hey guys, Peter here to do an album review. Today I'm here to tell you about the latest from Timo Tolkki's Avalon, the Enigma Birth, out June 18th on Frontiers Music. The album has 12 tracks, 59 minutes in length, and this is the band's 4 full-length studio album. This album has great fluidity. That's definitely one of the positive attributes of the record, is how well connected these songs are. You could feel like there's a fingerprint on this album, and that fingerprint is really noticeable on every single track, and because of it, it allows the listener to really connect with it and stay connected with it across all 12 songs. The album has great fluidity, ups and downs, great mobility, but also staying very cohesive, very compact from top to bottom. So this allows the record to feel a little bit more uniform, a little bit better balanced, like I said, a little bit more continuous, and not necessarily just a great collection of tracks with great, incredible singers. There's a lot of that in the record itself as well, but the way the album is structured, the way this track listing is put together, really allows this album to be a little bit more than just that. And the uniform approach and the fluidity that the record has really makes the album feel a little bit better and allows the album to have a much bigger impact from that perspective. Now, once you get into the soundscape, the album is rich. It has a rich sound, it has a rich approach, it's robust, it's big, sometimes bigger, but it always has this sense of volume, it always has this sense of expanding, and you feel that when you get into the tracks because most of the songs really ease you in with a nice mellow intro, and then as the song progresses, you feel this sense of growth, of morphing, that the track is building into something a little bit larger, a little bit bigger. That's something that stays very uniform throughout the record. So overall, it gives you a sensation of big volume, big sound. Having said that, it's not an epic record. It doesn't have that power metal drive and those incredible symphonic elements that really propel this record into the stratosphere, making it a metal opera, if you will. So there's a little bit of lacking from that perspective, and it really hurts the overall essence of the album, at least from my perspective, in terms of what I was expecting coming in. This is a great record. I mean, it has great songs, really well constructed. They feel more like power metal ballads, if you will. There's a heavy 80s influence in terms of the overall sound, the presence, in terms of how these songs are constructed. But as far as pushing the envelope and allowing the overall record to feel like a power metal album or a power metal driven album with an opera style approach, it doesn't really reach that mark. It really comes short of it. And it only comes short of it on the overall soundscape approach, because as far as other elements are concerned, I really felt that everything was in the right place. Within that soundscape, the album has incredible guitar playing. Out of all the elements that this album has to offer, the guitar playing really jumps into the forefront and becomes one of the driving forces of the record, the other one being the vocals. So I like the guitar sound, I like the strength that it gave to some of the tracks. I just wish was a little bit more consistent from that perspective, and allowing it to be one of the partners of the elements that really becomes the motor of the record. It's there at times, perhaps more in some songs, less in others, but it's not really consistent as far as the drive of the tracks, as far as the igniter of the songs is concerned. Great guitar playing, great melodies, incredible guitar solos, all of that is there on the record, but I wanted the guitarist to be one of the pillars, one of the driving forces. It is a pillar, but it's not necessarily a consistent driving force of the experience of this album. The only consistent driving force within this record is the incredible vocal performances that you're going to get from the first song all the way to the last. This is Timo Tolkki's Avalon, so you're expecting great vocalists to come in, and that's exactly what he has delivered. Incredible vocalists from the first track all the way to the last, and they really become the life force, the lifeline of this whole record. Everything centers around them. I actually felt that the record perhaps was too much built around them and depended too much on them, and that's perhaps where you see a little bit of lack of power and strength on some of the other elements. But overall, the vocals are just outstanding. There's not a single song that you're not going to get impressed with a vocal performance on it. Just pure, simple bliss from track to track. Perfect vocalists for the perfect tracks, for the way in which they were constructed. Like I said, almost having them specifically in mind when putting these songs together and building the tracks around them, and not necessarily building the track and just inserting who they feel that it fit best within the song itself. Overall, I like this album. It's an interesting record, but like I said, it lacks a little bit of power, it lacks a little bit of epicness. So it has great songs, it has great power metal ballads for the most part, but it really lacks a little bit of drive, it lacks a little bit of that epic sense that you would get from an album that could have reached a much higher level of experience, of sound, of overall performance. So it's an interesting album, but it doesn't really reach the mark as far as I'm concerned. Now, as far as favorite songs goes, I want to start off with I Just Collapse, featuring Caterina Nix on vocals. She absolutely demolishes this song. I love the more mellow intro, then the guitars pick up some power, but the track really moves into that power metal ballad feel to it. It has incredible ebbs and flows between the verses and the chorus. The verses are a little bit more stripped out, with the bass really taking control of the track, and then some symphonic elements in the background to give it a little bit more epicness to the overall experience, to the overall sound. And then Caterina does the rest with her voice. Then once you get into the chorus, the song becomes a little bit more bombastic, becomes a little bit bigger. And it has such great mobility between one and the other. And it's not just that the sound increases in the chorus, her range also goes a little bit higher. She moves a little bit of the needle with her voice, allowing that chorus to be so bombastic, so charismatic in the way it comes across. I just love the sound. I love the performance. I love her voice and what she does with it. It's just another instrument in how she controls it from the verses into the chorus. Overall, she has the voice of that 80s rock star, and this song is really an 80s power metal ballad. So I felt like the two just intertwine perfectly, and you can't tell where one ends and where the other one starts, making this just really a fantastic song, one that really stands out in the crowd. Next, you have Memories, featuring also Caterina Nix and Brittney Slays of Unleash the Archers. This song has a lot of similarities as far as when you start to compare the overall structure and what you're getting from it with I Just Collapse. A lot of things are moving in the same direction, are moving in the same way. The verses feeling a little bit more stripped down, a little bit bigger in the chorus, with a lot more presence in the chorus. The only difference is this is a duet. So he took a lot of the same elements as far as the song goes, as far as the overall construction goes, even as far as the soundscape is concerned. But then you add a second incredible vocalist into the mix. You add the dynamic of having a duet between these two incredible voices, and a song that feels a lot of the same starts to become a lot different. It starts to become a lot bigger. Once again, not driven by the guitars, not driven by the drums, not driven by the symphonic elements of the track, but really by the two vocalists that really expand the play field of this song, making it bigger, making it more epic. Last but not least, Beauty and War, featuring Raphael Mendes. A more guitar-driven track. To me, this was a song that felt a little bit more robust. It felt like it had a lot more elements coming together, and they were all working towards the same goal. The rhythm section on this track is phenomenal. I really like the sound of the bass. I like how it interacts with the drums. I like how it sets the bass line, how it sets the foundation for this track. And I think that foundation is absolutely critical on how this song sounds, on how this song moves, because it allows the guitars to be a little bit bigger, a little bit more driven, have a little bit more meat on the bone, come in a lot more frequently, be part of the track, be part of what's happening within the song on a more consistent basis from top to bottom. And then Raphael Mendes, with an incredible performance, really is the cherry on top of this cake. He really becomes the glue that unifies this track and makes this one of the more bombastics, one of the more robust songs that has a little bit more meat on the bone from top to bottom, and therefore a lot more power, becoming more of a power metal song through and through, from beginning all the way to the end. This is it. This is Timo Tolkki's Avalon with the Enigma Birth, out June 18th on Frontiers Music. Let me know your thoughts on the band, on the singles. Use the comment section below. I'll be reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.